Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Republic of Slovenia, Nataša Pirc Musar, accompanied by distinguished guests. Ladies and gentlemen, the BSF Orchestra with Maestro Žiga Pirnat.
Ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, good evening. Kalispera, buonasera, dober večer. A decade ago, this stage hosted for the first time what would become a unique experience of merging creativity with discussions on global challenges. A get-together of leaders and virtuosos, a consonance of art and diplomacy. Since then, we have transformed most of the Bled Strategic Forum themes into music and picture. We brought together artists, scholars, diplomats to discuss the soft power of art. Tonight, we celebrate the legacy with the orchestra and hope to take you on an inspiring journey of music, picture, and the retrospective of the forum with our special guests. As you know, this year's forum is about solidarity. On that note, we invite you to contribute to a special relief account established by the forum for those affected by the recent historic floods in Slovenia. Slovenian mobile phone subscribers can donate by texting the keyword poplave10 to 1919 to contribute €10. Our guests from abroad can donate by scanning the QR code on your TV screens, also seen behind me, or going to bit.ly/bled2023. Your help is greatly appreciated. And now, without further ado, I would like to invite on stage a great friend of the arts and music to open the concert officially. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Republic of Slovenia, Dr. Nataša Pirc Musar.
Dear Excellencies, dear President of the Hellenic Republic, Katerina Sakelaropoulou, dear ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to see that so many of you have decided to join the Bled Strategic Forum, which year after year brings together leaders from the governmental sector and civil society who have the knowledge, passion, and commitment to influence international affairs. To all of you coming from abroad, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to Slovenia and thank you for supporting the forum and its goals. This year's forum, like any other similar event in the world, may have a very specific title, but essentially the title revolves around a single global question: how to avoid war and preserve peace. The longer I serve as the President of Slovenia, the more I realize that this is the wrong question to ask. Because when it comes to peace, there should be no question at all. Peace should have been the normal state of affairs. Unfortunately, it seems the wars are. Peace must become a constant in any society that wants to call itself a civilization. I do not deny that power matters, but I do believe that power and its sources must be thoroughly explored. I argue that the display of power is only the surface of much deeper and more complex relationships between people and ultimately between nations. It is how we understand power and how we use it matters. I therefore propose that we talk about the knowledge of power. More specifically, we need to discuss a different, relatively simple question here at the Bled Strategic Forum and elsewhere. What keeps us apart and what brings us together? That is the real challenge of managing power. Take, for example, the power of trust, which was the central theme of one of the previous editions of the forum. It almost seems as if there is no such power left anymore that could keep us together. We simply do not trust each other anymore. Social media were not invented to disconnect us, but that's exactly what they do. We study the intentions of other people, of other countries, often assuming the worst. We do not believe that their intentions are sincere. As a lawyer, I can confirm that, yes, the law can facilitate social progress to some extent. It can bring us together. Social media, for example, should be subject to regulation. But trust, ladies and gentlemen, trust cannot be regulated by law. It cannot be enshrined in a constitution or in an international convention. By losing trust, we attack the very foundations of an organized society. Or take the power of solidarity. Solidarity is an important theme of this year's forum. But when I look around and see where the world is going, I keep asking myself, what happened to that power? About a century ago, Europeans experienced indescribable violence, unemployment, poverty, hunger, and deadly diseases. They experienced 2 world wars. Now, when many Europeans are doing well, we give back too little. In Europe alone, millions of people live below the poverty line. Solidarity was supposed to bring us together. The lack of it keeps us apart. Or what about the power of democracy? Only people who are free and educated are informed enough to choose their way of life. They are likely to be more innovative and contribute to the overall strength of their society. They will be able to interact much more easily with friends and colleagues from different parts of the world and develop empathy for others. They will not be afraid of what awaits them at home if they are too critical of their own governments. Sadly, not everywhere in the world, not even in Europe, is democracy fully realized as a way of life. This leads to disillusionment and eventually to an exodus of the youngest and most active members of our societies. They migrate from environments with less democracy and prosperity and more corruption to places where they can realize their aspiration and live in dignity. Another, more sinister aspect of the power of democracy is the danger of its abuse. And this is something that has become alarmingly easy and widespread with the tools brought about by the 4th Industrial Revolution. Disinformation, privacy concerns, micro-targeting of voters or consumers without their knowledge or consent are just some of the issues that are only going to get worse as technology continues to advance. And this is why the power of science should never be underestimated. We can and must trust science. But only if the scientists are trustworthy too. This prerequisite is crucial in the age of artificial intelligence. We need good global regulation to manage this power. The Secretary General of United Nations agrees. He has backed a proposal for the creation of an international AI watchdog body similar to the International Atomic Energy Agency. Humility and modesty, ladies and gentlemen, is the next power I wish to address. For centuries, the value of our civilization has not been less is more, but profit translated into the term economic growth. We live under the illusion that our economies will grow forever. We should rather strive for less, but better. Every step towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals means a step away from the extinction of humanity. Nowhere, literally nowhere, is our lack of power to manage power more visible than in our century's confrontation with a truly mighty power, the power of nature. Just recently, we have experienced that power in Slovenia, the devastating floods in my country. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I have always hoped that the brute force of nature would spare Slovenia. Now I hope to the bottom of my heart that the mighty force of nature will spare your countries and the lives of your loved ones. Solidarity was and is the key for all of us in such circumstances. Many countries represented at the forum helped Slovenia. I thank you all. Hvala lepa. Slovenia will always help you as well. What has happened here is a stark reminder of what scientists have been warning us for decades. We have lost many battles against climate change already, but there is still much we can do to adapt to climate change and to do all we can to stop raising the Earth's temperature. I hope that we, humanity, will finally come to accept this reality everywhere in the world. In practice, resources should be put where they need to be put, not just in theory and in political declarations. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to dive into a mesmerizing night of music with our special guests and this wonderful young composer and his orchestra. I'm most confident that this will be more than just another concert, but rather a celebration of the forum's creative legacy. A legacy which over all these years has shown how music, visuals, and arts in general can often reach more where diplomacy, economics, and hard power cannot. I wish you all an inspiring evening and a pleasant stay in Bled. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President, for that warm welcome. It is now time to welcome you to Bled, to Slovenia, actually, on behalf of the orchestra as well. Let's embark on an audiovisual trip across our country. A country that has taken quite a beating most recently, but in response has come together and risen in an incredible act of solidarity. Tam nekje v Sloveniji, somewhere in Slovenia. As the President mentioned in her speech, 2014 was the year when trust was the key word discussed at the Bled Strategic Forum. A lot has happened since then. The lack of trust in international relations has reached a critical level. And we are back to a game theory setup where everyone competes against each other in a zero-sum game. After the last few tumultuous years, can we reestablish trust in the global community, as well as the societal level? Perhaps we can learn from some of the ideas in the following video. A year after this video was made, in 2015, the United Nations adopted Agenda 2030, a plan of action for people, planet, and prosperity. It seems that due to the unprecedented multi-crisis of recent years, sustainable development goals have been put aside in many aspects. This is a shame because many of the challenges we face today are precisely what the agenda intends to prevent or alleviate. Let's have another look at the video, One World, produced for the BSF 2016 to present the global goals to strengthen universal peace, eradicate poverty, and shift the world onto a sustainable and resilient path. In 2016, we talked about how to safeguard our future. As part of that discussion, we looked at some staggering statistics and megatrends. Unfortunately, some dire scenarios and forecasts have already come true since then. Can we reverse some of the trends? Can we learn from what we knew back then and what we know now? Let's have a look. At this year's forum, we will talk a lot about problems, challenges, and solutions. Our next performance and video are from 2018, titled Bridging the Divide. 5 years later, the divides in international, national, and even personal relations are no smaller. In most cases, they are much bigger and more critical. To make these matters a little bit less grim, a little bit more manageable, the following video will discuss the challenges and divides while blending that story with the story of the Carniolan honeybee. A subspecies of the western honeybee, the so-called carnies are the second most popular breed among beekeepers, well known for their non-aggressions and diligence and resilience. In addition to being home to the Carniolan honeybees, Slovenia, actually this very region of Slovenia, was home to Anton Janša, the pioneer of modern apiculture. The fact that we presented this extraordinary animal to the BSF audience in 2018 was no coincidence. A few months earlier, the United Nations approved Slovenia's proposal and proclaimed May 20th World Bee Day. This year, the Bled Strategic Forum is taking place for the 18th consecutive year. 3 years ago, on the forum's 15th anniversary, we looked at its beginning and realized just how much the world has changed since the first forum. We will show you this short clip without the orchestra, and hopefully it will make us all a bit nostalgic and proud. At this point, I would like to remind you again that the forum this year is giving every participant and our TV viewers the chance to help those affected by the recent floods in Slovenia. If you own a Slovenian mobile phone number, you can contribute €10 by sending the keyword poplave10 to 1919. If you prefer to donate a different amount or do not own a Slovenian phone number, please use the QR code seen on the screen or go to bit.ly/bled2023.
Imagine you could travel back in time to August 2006. There were 1.2 billion fewer people living on Earth, and the world's GDP was 70% smaller than it is today. Internet users represented 17% of the world's population. Today, almost 3/5 of humankind are connected to the web. Back then, a relatively unknown network called Facebook was only open to college students in a handful of countries. And Twitter, an obscure website, had only been made public a month earlier. The European Union, that had just welcomed 10 new member states, would add another 3 over the following decade. It would also, for the first time in its history, see a member leave the Union. Carbon dioxide emissions were 21% lower than they are today. As a result, we are now noticeably closer to the critical threshold of 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial levels. In 2006, people would not have understood words like iPhone, hashtag, unfollow, or crowdfunding, which were yet to be invented. Several extraordinary discoveries in science were still to come to light. Few could expect that in 2 years the world would experience the greatest economic and financial meltdown since the 1930s, only to be surpassed in just over a decade by the Great Shutdown, caused by an outbreak of a new disease. Old conflicts would continue and new would arise. At the same time, huge steps would be made towards solving seemingly unsolvable challenges. And for the first time in history, a common blueprint for a sustainable future of our planet would be agreed upon. The world has changed, and we have followed suit. Since 2006, the Bled Strategic Forum has welcomed almost 10,000 participants from over 100 countries. Among them, more than 30 heads of state and government, almost 300 foreign and other ministers, and more than 1,300 media representatives. Exchanging views, seeking solutions, leading. Welcome to the 15th edition of the Bled Strategic Forum.
Finally, it is time for me to invite on stage our first special guest of tonight. One of Slovenia's most popular and successful performers, ladies and gentlemen, Maja Keuc.
peace of mind. 'Cause you make me feel, you make me feel, you make me feel like a natural woman. When my soul was lost and found, you came along to claim me. I didn't know just what was wrong with me, baby. Until your kiss helped me name it. But I'm no longer doubtful of what I'm living for. And if I make you happy, I don't need to do more. 'Cause you make me feel, you make me feel, you make me feel like a natural woman. Woman. Oh, but baby, look at what you've done to me. You make me feel so good inside. I just wanna be close to you. You make me feel so alive. You make me feel, you make me feel, you make me feel like a natural woman. Woman. You make me feel like a natural woman, baby. Like a natural woman. Like a natural Thank you very much. It's a great honor to be here tonight with all of you, especially for such a great cause. This next song is called Hallelujah. I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do you? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor falls and the major lift, the barefoot king composing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty and the moonlight overthrew you. She tied you to her kitchen chair. She broke your throne and she cut your hair, and from your lips she drew the hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Thank you so much, Maja, for that amazing performance. It's kind of hard to move on after a performance like this. One of the most successful BSF videos was the 2017 New Reality. That was the year we were still trying to wrap our heads around Brexit, the consequences of the European migrant crisis, some tensions in the transatlantic relations, and the ever grimmer outlook of the future the social media were taking us to. Little did we know that what we considered extraordinary, a new reality even then, would pale compared to the world only a few years later. After a global shutdown caused by a new disease, a war in Europe, and many other previously unimaginable or extreme phenomena becoming increasingly common. The BSF video you're about to see gathered much attention even outside the forum, winning nominations for Best Short Clip at festivals. How does the new reality of that time compare to the one today? Let's have a look. As the President of Slovenia mentioned earlier tonight, what matters when discussing power is how we understand it and how we use it. Unfortunately, the developments in recent times have shown that many actors in international relations still understand hard power as the ultimate means of achieving goals. That said, one cannot deny that the most remarkable advances in human rights, science, economy, all occurred during the periods and in societies where it was the rules that were the power. Where no matter how much you earn, what you believe in, or how big your army is, the same rules apply to you as to anyone else. Let's ask ourselves once again, do we live and do we want to live in a world where the only rule is the rule of power, or in a world where the ultimate power is the power of rules?
The history of the human race has been shaped by conflicts and wars. It has been shaped by one rule. In the middle of the last century, it became apparent that when it meets technological progress, the rule of power can lead to complete self-destruction of the human race. There is no place to hide. There is only one world, one planet, one life. Establishing new rules of the game has become a necessity. We needed to start cooperating, connecting, and working together. Thus, we started our journey. From monologue to dialogue, from conflict to compromise, from human life as collateral damage to human life as dignity, from life as an economic measure to living on the paradigm of sustainable development. It seems that in the last few decades, the world has indeed moved from the rule of power to the power of rules. But it takes very little to disturb this fragile balance. Our journey is a continuous process that requires the effort of the entire international community, from the superpowers to the smallest stakeholders. It is critical to safeguard democracy, human rights, and the rule of law, while addressing the global challenges affecting our planet and civilization. We are at a decisive point in history. Rules are being rewritten as we speak, and power is once again dictating the world's agenda. Instead of a multilateralism of equal partners, we seem to be moving towards a confrontation of the democratic versus the non-democratic world. Is global economic and political cooperation among stakeholders with vastly different values sustainable in the long run? What is the red line that marks out where cultural differences become human rights violations and breaches of international law? Is there still a way for dialogue and mutually acceptable compromise to prevail? Or is a global clash inevitable? What is the future of democracy? We need to address global challenges, the transatlantic relationship.
6 years ago, the Bled Strategic Forum awarded its first Distinguished Partner Award. This award aims to acknowledge the support of prominent individuals in highlighting global and regional strategic priority issues, while also supporting and drawing attention to the BSF activities. By inviting high-profile individuals, such as high political leaders, practitioners, experts, and other decision makers to serve as BSF distinguished partners, The BSF Program Committee is recognizing the contribution of those committed individuals to promoting, fostering, and sustaining effective strategic dialogue, while raising awareness of the importance of the Bled Strategic Forum's aims, objectives, and priorities. This year, the BSF Distinguished Partner Award goes to the President of the Republic of Moldova, Mrs. Maja Sandu. In times of great uncertainty and geostrategic shift on the European continent and in the broader global community, Maja Sandu showed great courage and leadership in steering Moldova closer to the European integration processes while upholding and strengthening values and principles that also Bled Strategic Forum adheres to. I would now like to invite on stage the President of the Republic of Slovenia to present the award to the President of the Republic of Moldova.
Dear Madam President, Your Excellencies, distinguished audience, I want to thank you with gratitude and humility as I accept the Bled Strategic Forum Distinguished Partner Award. I regard this as a tribute to the collective effort that has been made by many of my colleagues and other countless individuals who have dedicated themselves to Moldova's democratic and international progress. I see it also as a tribute to the people of Moldova who have come together to support efforts to ensure that our country stays part of the free world. We live on a continent with many challenges, from those presented by climate change, as seen in the recent devastating floods in Slovenia or vicious fires in Greece, to Russia's unprovoked invasion of our neighbor Ukraine, which is a security challenge for all of us. We stand with the Slovenian people affected by these unprecedented natural calamities. Moldova stands in solidarity with you. It is a reminder of our shared vulnerabilities and the need for collective action. In Moldova, we face efforts aimed at destabilizing our country through hybrid tactics conducted by Russia and its proxies. Despite that, over the past year, we have made significant progress in strengthening our democracy and building economic and political resilience. We have moved away from reliance on imports of energy, Russian energy, and redoubled our efforts to tackle corruption and the malign influence of oligarchs. We have also stepped up our preparations for what we hope will soon be the start of the negotiations for accession to the European Union. I'm honored to accept your award today as a recognition of all the work that our government and our people are undertaking. The Bled Strategic Forum has consistently embodied the values of dialogue, cooperation, and innovative solutions. I believe in these values, and I'm glad to share them. I'm inspired by the diverse individuals who gather here, fostering understanding, bridging divides, and forging connections that transcend borders. Once again, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the Forum for this honor. This will encourage us in Moldova to continue our journey of positive change and engagement with renewed determination. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. We are approaching the end of tonight's celebration of solidarity and the BSF creative legacy. What better way to conclude it than with another vocalist extraordinaire? I'm pleased to welcome on stage a guest who flew here all the way from Spain. Ladies and gentlemen, Montserrat Martí Caballé.
It's an honor for me to be back in Slovenia because first time here was in 2000. I had the chance to live in Maribor for 2 months, rehearsing with the Broadway company our beginning of the tour, Worldwide West Side Story, which we had been singing all over the world. So it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for taking care of our beautiful planet. Thank you very much. I'm going to sing now O mi bambino caro from Puccini. Thank you.
Mi piaceva
Thank you, dear Montserrat. With this, our event has come to an end. On behalf of the orchestra, thank you, my dear audience, excellencies, and listeners in the venue and at home. Thank you for taking this musical journey with us. If there's one thing we hope you got out of this, it's the insight into just how much artists can use their language, music, in our case, to communicate to the world those same challenges you can read about in papers or discuss at conferences. The soft power of creativity might not seem like something that can compete with tanks or fighter jets. But don't forget, there's a reason why many political leaders who swear on hard power want to meet prominent artists, like to be photographed with them, and even consult with them about issues. It's precisely because these artists do have power, equally as strong and far-fetching, even though it might not be materialized in arms or money. Once again, thank you to everyone who contributed today and helped those affected by the recent natural disaster in Slovenia. You can still donate, even after the concert, by texting Poplave 10 to 1919 or going to bit.ly/bled2023. Before the curtain falls on this stage, we would like to say goodbye to you in the language we speak best. Once again, Mrs. Martí will join us on stage, this time accompanied by a distinguished Slovenian actor-singer, Klemen Slakonja. Thank you and have a beautiful stay in Bled and many constructive and inspiring debates. Good night.
This perfect dream.
Un sueño me envolvió.
This dream was me and you.
Y tal vez estás aquí.
I want all the world to see.
Un instinto me guiaba.
Miracle sensation, my guide and inspiration. Now my dream is slowly coming true. The wind is a gentle breeze.
Il mio melody.
The bells are ringing now. Calling us together, guiding us forever. Wish my dream would never die. sing. Start the celebrations.